Glad the international break is finally over, right? Now, Liverpool are heading into a jam-packed schedule, 7 games in just 3 weeks, spread across 3 different competitions. With Arne Slot's squad returning to Premier League action this weekend, we thought we'd try something new here on Panenka. We're bringing you a preview of Liverpool's upcoming league clash against Nottingham Forest. We'll dive into the club's current standings, likely lineups, injury updates, key players to watch, basically everything you need to know about the game with a focus on the opposition and how to beat them. If you enjoy videos like this, drop a comment below and let us know. We can start preparing one for our AC Milan game coming up next week. For now, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and let's dive straight into the preview. We can all agree that Arne Slot has had a dream start as Liverpool manager. 3 wins, 7 goals scored, 0 conceded, leaving us tied at the top of the table on 9 points and a +7 goal difference right alongside Manchester City. Slot has overseen 3 wins in his first 3 matches without conceding a single goal. He's the first manager to pull that off since the late Sven-Göran Eriksson and the first Liverpool boss to do so in the top flight. To cap it all off, the Reds went to Old Trafford and completely dominated Manchester United with a 3-0 victory on their own turf. With that kind of momentum, it was a bit frustrating to see the international break disrupt things, but should Liverpool fans be worried about the team losing their rhythm? Not really. The Reds have only lost 1 of the last 24 league games after an international break, winning 18 and drawing 5. And with our next big game bringing us back to Anfield, the team's spirits will be sky high, ready to keep the good run going under our new manager. And speaking of Anfield, did you know we've only lost 2 of our last 62 Premier League games at home? An incredible record showing how Klopp turned the stadium into a fortress, and it's something Arne Slot will definitely want to maintain. Now that we've covered our league form, let's move on to our lineup prediction. To be honest, Liverpool might be one of the easiest teams to predict in terms of starting 11. And that's for a simple reason. Slot seems to have found his most balanced lineup since that second half performance against Ipswich, so we don't expect any changes for the 3rd game running. Alisson will stay between the posts, with Van Dijk and Konate at centre-back. Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold will hold down the full-back spots, while Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis Mac Allister will form the double pivot. Now we're mentioning Mac Allister with a bit of caution, since he's been subbed off during Argentina's game against Chile last week. Though he did score in that match, fortunately, he played about 20 minutes in the next game against Colombia, so we expect him to be ready to start this weekend. Dominik Szoboszlai will take his usual spot further up the pitch, playing just behind the front 3 of Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah. Of course, this lineup assumes no last-minute injuries, knocking on wood for that. Speaking of injuries, Curtis Jones, who is yet to feature in an official game this season, reportedly made progress during the break and might be available for selection against Nottingham Forest. On the flip side, Harvey Elliott has been dealt a blow, with reports saying he's fractured his leg, which could see him sidelined for quite some time. There's also some uncertainty around our sole summer signing, Federico Chiesa. We still don't know if he's fully match fit, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Now that we've covered everything on the Reds, let's shift our focus to the opposition, Nottingham Forest. Some might see this as a guaranteed 3 points for Liverpool, considering the Tricky Trees haven't won any of their last 26 visits to Anfield, with 6 draws and 20 losses, a run that stretches all the way back to 1978. But this is the Premier League, and anything can happen, especially when you factor in that Nuno Espirito Santos' side is one of the 7 clubs yet to lose this season, with 1 win and 2 draws. They've also taken the lead in all of their games so far, scoring 3 and conceding 2. That said, with that massive improvement in Liverpool's back line this season, it's going to be much tougher for Forest to get the upper hand, no matter how motivated they are to keep their unbeaten run going. We all know how Nuno Espirito Santos' sides play, don't we? We remember that Wolves team happy to sit back and hit on the counter, using long balls from João Neves to the likes of Pedro Neto, and of course our current striker, Diogo Jota. With Forest, there's no doubt they'll be tough to break down. We've seen this before. Last season, they gave us plenty of issues, including that game where Darwin Núñez's header won it for us. This season, it seems Forest are continuing to deliver strong defensive performances. In fact, they've conceded the second fewest XG so far, 2.1 just behind City's 2.03 and ahead of Liverpool's 2.36. This tells you how defensively solid Nuno's side has been over the first 3 games. Whether they're sitting in a low or mid block, Arne Slot may face his first real challenge in breaking down a tight defence. To counter this, the Reds will need to play with a high line and use a proactive counter-press to maintain pressure on Forest's defensive line and ultimately break them down. Trent Alexander-Arnold will be key here. His ability to create from both inside and outside the opposition's block will be a massive weapon. His creativity can help unlock even the most rigid defensive setups. But while we need to stay aggressive and choke Forest in their own third, we also need to be careful of their attacking threat on the break. Forest have 3 players that we need to keep quiet in order to limit their offensive threat. The first is arguably their best player in Morgan Gibbs-White. The attacking midfielder is the 5th most player so far for the chances created with 9, sitting behind the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Palmer. Gibbs-White has the ability to hold on to the ball in tight spaces and split defences with a single pass, not to mention his quality delivery from set pieces. Speaking of set pieces, it's worth noting that Forest currently lead the league in XG created from set plays, with 1.94 XG out of their total 4.79. But what really makes Morgan Gibbs-White dangerous are the 2 wide players flanking him, Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left and Anthony Elanga on the right. Hudson-Odoi, another player who thrives in tight areas and can link up with his teammates around the box to create problems. Meanwhile, Elanga is more of a direct winger, capable of hurting any team with his pace and power in transition. Now, you might be wondering why we haven't mentioned Chris Wood, Forest's top goal scorer of 2 goals so far. That's because if we can limit the 3 players we just discussed, Wood's services will dry up, effectively neutralising his aerial threat and his ability in one-on-ones with the keeper. With Van Dijk and Konate holding down the defence, it's hard to imagine the 32-year-old striker, who has failed to score against Liverpool in 12 previous meetings, causing us too many issues, especially if we cut off his supply. Of course, Forest also have some threat coming from the back from the likes of former Red Nico Williams bombing forward from the right back position and centre backs like Murillo and Milenkovic joining during set pieces. So we need to be careful not giving out silly mistakes at the edge of our box in order to limit the opposition's set plays weapon. Liverpool have won 8 of their last 11 home league matches by 2+ goals, and after a perfect start to this season we've had, everyone will be going into this game with only 1 goal in mind, 3 points and nothing less. But again, Forest are a tricky side to face, and with a trio of offensive players like Odoi, Gibbs-White and Elanga available, we need to suffocate the opposition in the area while keeping in mind the danger they can pose in transition. So what are your predictions for this game? Do you think Slot will bring new challenges to the side? Will Nottingham Forest be a tough challenge for us at Anfield? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's preview, please do smash the like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments so we'll do more for games in the future. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.